And we are back on Beam City Sports. This is 96.5 FM. Your host, Tyler Texeira, here again with co-host Luke Mitchell. And we have a lot to talk about today, Luke.
Oh
How you
yeah,
feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready to light it up like the beam. We here, so let's get it done.
Yes, sir. We are here on Beam City Sports, 96.5 FM. And today we are going to be ranking the top 10 point guards in the NBA right now. Also, we're going to be discussing the Olympics that we saw, USA win gold, and then we'll get into some Oakland A's. Who do they play for now, which will be fun to see. Some good old A's players that
I'm pretty
we
excited about that one.
yeah, we love all these old A's players, and it's crazy to see where they are now. But we will jump into the USA winning gold. And I want to say it, this is the best Team USA I've ever seen. I know you disagree still, but this really solidified it.
I remember saying earlier a few weeks ago. I remember saying that USA had to win every single game, and they might. I think they might overtake that USA team, the Redeem team.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear you say that because
Just seeing LeBron and KD and Steph come alive like that, just it was very, very, like, I don't know, made me nostalgic.
yeah, it really like left an imprint on this era of basketball. Like it really did. And it was just crazy to see. We can start with the Serbia game, though. It was a crazy game. USA was down pretty much the whole game against Serbia. Nikola Jokic and Bogdan Bogdanovic were going crazy. And then the big three for Team USA, also Embiid. So that's Steph, LeBron, KD, and Embiid. They really just went crazy in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they came alive. They took it over. They played like they really love playing for USA basketball. They played like it was their last one because it probably will be their last one. So it was beautiful to see. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and it was one of my favorite parts was just all the emotion that, all those guys showed. Like they wanted this more than anything. And you don't see the emotion from some of these guys like Embiid or even KD and stuff like that in the regular season of the NBA. But
Nope.
you could just really tell how much this meant to every player on the team. But yeah, our guys from Serbia, Jokic and Bogey, really went off in that game, made it a crazy game.
It was great to see Bogey go off. It was just like, it reminded me just of him here in Sacramento and how much we relied on him in some clutch moments. I remember him, like, I was just like, Bogey, save us. Come on. We need you to save us right now, Bogey.
Yeah, he definitely hit a few game winners when he was, here in Sacramento that were very memorable.
Yeah.
One against the Warriors, one against the Lakers that come to mind just off the top. But yeah, he is really built for these moments. And, last year in the NBA, he had a great year. But to show up like this in the Olympics against Team USA, something that you wanted to bring up was him, looking at Carmelo doing his celebration. But yeah, it was great to see Bogey just light it up like that and make it a very competitive game. One of the best basketball games I've ever witnessed. Watching.
It was beautiful. And then coming down like to the end with Curry hitting some crazy threes at the end, and then KD too hitting a little step back fadeaway to kind of seal it up.
Yeah, it was really great to see. Like it was back to back to back. Curry hit a three, LeBron fast break layup, and then Curry hit a steal, and then KD closed it out with that dagger mid range. So it was really just the big three coming in clutch. But the game we saw most recently was USA beating France 98-87, and I think this really adds so much to Steph Curry's legacy.
Oh, yeah.
He's already solidified as one of the, if not the best point guard of all time. I think he's the best point guard of all time.
I think I'd agree with that.
It's going to be hard to disagree now, especially after, an iconic performance like this. And he really struggled, coming into these Olympics. Like in his first 4 games, he only had 29 points and was 5 of 20 from 3. In the last 2, which were against Serbia and France, the 2 biggest games of this tournament, he had 60 points in those games combined, 17 of 26 from 3. So in the first 4 games, he only had 5 threes. In the last 2, he had 17. So, Steph really balled out.
Insane.
Yeah, came in clutch. 4 straight threes to close it out against France. Just, legendary moments from him. And that is my favorite player of all time. So that made me more than happy to see all that come in. Yeah, just his clutch gene really coming out.
That shot over, I think it was Evan Fournier and
Batum.
Yeah. That, oh, my God.
Yeah,
Gave me chills.
Gave me chills, too. Double-teamed, fading away, just threw it up there, and it went in because he's the best shooter of all time.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Greatest shooter.
but he didn't win MVP of this tournament. LeBron James actually won MVP of this Olympic tournament, and I think it's well deserved.
Well deserved.
Well deserved.
Yeah, he led the team pretty much the whole way, even through the showcase games.
Yeah.
Like he got him there, like led him undefeated the whole time. Was there to just be the captain pretty much all the time.
Yeah, he led the team in scoring at almost 15 a game, and he was just the biggest assist man on the team too, getting about 9 or 10 a game. And like you said, from the beginning, he looked like the best player out there.
Yeah.
Even at 40 years old, he really looked like he was the best player on the court.
Looking like he was 26 years old, running up and down the court.
He still is one of the most athletic players in the league today.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I hope he has some more years to come. I hope, the end for LeBron's game is not, coming soon. I hope
it's not like by an injury. I hope it's by choice. I hope it's not like some ACL or anything like that. That would be tragic. But,
I really think he can be like Tom Brady was in the NFL and, like play until he's like maybe 45. I know it's different for the NBA.
That'd be pretty insane.
Because the, athletic ability that you need and how much he uses his athletic ability. But I think he keeps his body, like he spends millions of dollars on his body each year.
Millions.
And, he doesn't want to leave, especially with his son going in the NBA now.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I hope he stays around. But another point to mention is Kevin Durant is going to be the first player to win 4 gold medals in men's Olympic basketball history. He also took over as the leading all-time scorer.
Yep.
So,
setting
KD,
records on records on records.
Yeah,
Man.
KD come into play, and he was so clutch in every game pretty much that he played.
Yeah, I got to say, every player on the team, like throughout the whole series pretty much, every time a moment came in their hand to kind of keep the momentum going on the U.S. side, they came up and made the shot. There was no time that like anybody kind of fell off the horse and like just slowed the team down. It always looked like when like France was kind of clawing back, like Anthony Edwards came up,
He did.
made a few passes that looked really nice and kind of kept everything going, and a couple of shots just to keep the momentum up, and then Embiid hitting a corner 3 like out of nowhere, it was pretty awesome to see it.
Yeah, and someone we got to shine some light on who was really an unsung hero for this team that Steve Kerr mentioned was Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Devin Booker was, the dirty work guy on this team in that starting lineup, guarding the best guard on each team. He had 15 in the closeout game, just shot very well from 3, made every right pass. He was very unselfish, and I think he's a guy that's going to play for Team USA for years to come.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It was good to see. He started out kind of rough in the beginning of the Olympics, but he cleaned up and got it back together. So it was good to see that for sure.
Yeah, and some guys on France before we move on from, this great Olympic play that we saw, the last 2 games like we mentioned, those were 2 of my favorite games that I've ever watched basketball. This was way better than the NBA Finals this year. I think every moment that we saw was like just top tier compared to what we saw in the finals, even the last few years. This just puts on top because it was all the star players and everyone we love.
Everything was electric.
Yeah.
I'm scared to see what France is going to be like in 4 years.
Yeah, some guys on France, Victor Wembanyama, he was very emotional after that loss, crying and, showing all that. But he said the league is not ready for me.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah, he said it's just the beginning. He had 26 in this game, and he was electric. He in the beginning of this game, he was not missing. He could hit from 3. He was dunking. And, another guy we got to mention who was in the NBA, he actually went back to, his league out in France, was Gershon Yabusele. The big man, he dunked on LeBron.
Yep.
Got to mention it. A lot of people are trying to put it over.
People trying to pass it off as AI, but that was kind of cool to see. Just, obviously it's basketball.
Yeah.
LeBron trying to take a charge, and a lot of the times he's really good at getting that, but this time he was a little too late.
Yeah.
And it was a foul on him, and also just a little poster.
Yeah, they call Gershon the dancing bear, and he really plays like it out there. He can do it all.
He's a big scary guy,
big man. He can shoot it from 3, and he's very athletic. So I really hope an NBA team signs him. I've heard some news about the Kings looking into getting him. So
I wouldn't be too mad about that.
As a backup big, maybe some energy off the bench. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah. He'll probably have that as a poster in his house one day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's probably framed already.
Dunking on LeBron in the championship game of the Olympics is something he'll never forget.
Yeah.
But, just a final final takes on the Olympic games that we saw before we move on to the NBA schedule.
I mean, I love this. Honestly, was probably the best Olympic Games in general that
I
I've
agree.
seen in my lifetime. I mean, U.S. coming up on top with the medal count, tied with China with golds, but we came out on top of the list, so that's awesome. But no, yeah, love the Olympics. Excited for them to be here in the U.S. in 4 years.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna buy some tickets for those games for sure.
Hopefully we'll be reporting in those
Who knows?
interviewing some
maybe
people.
We'll be down there.
Yeah, give it 4 years, we'll see where we're at.
Yeah.
But
and then also got to shout out the U.S. Women's team.
Yeah.
Won gold too by one. It was a little buzzer beater at the end. France came up short with their foot on the line to almost tie the game, but they lost it by one. So shout out the women's team for taking that gold too.
Yeah, shout out to them. It was crazy to see that the U.S. played France in both men's and the women's
First
basketball
time in
finals.
history.
Yeah, so good for France. Putting on while they're at home. All that a huge crowd was supporting them. So it's crazy to see both men's and women's have the same final game. But we will move on quickly to some NBA schedule news that actually got released, and only a few games got released on the schedule. We know the Christmas Day games, which are some of my favorite things to look at. I always love watching
NBA
all these
Christmas
games.
It's pretty tight
On Christmas. That's all I want to do is wake up and just watch those games all day, eat some food, and I'm very excited for these games. The first game we're going to see is the San Antonio Spurs at the New York Knicks. Crazy to see. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting the Spurs to be. I mean, with Wemby, maybe you should expect it, but I mean, they weren't really contenders at all last year. Usually, you see past playoff teams playing against each other in the Christmas games. But I mean, this will be pretty cool seeing that. New York, obviously, seeing in Christmas is
they always get the
classic.
early game.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to see the Spurs get this Christmas Day game. Like you said, the NBA is really trying to push this Wemby narrative.
Exactly.
And, get the NBA ready for this next chapter of stars coming in.
Definitely.
But it seemed like the Milwaukee Bucks didn't get a Christmas Day game, and the Spurs did. A lot of controversy on that, with Giannis and Dame, two of the biggest stars in the league.
Yeah.
But I think the NBA is just really trying to push these young stars. Also, the next game is the Minnesota Timberwolves facing the Dallas Mavericks.
That would be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game.
That was the Western Conference Finals last year, so good to see that. Then we have the Sixers at the Celtics. That will be a good one with Paul George now on the Sixers. The Celtics coming off a championship. That will be crazy to see. And then we got the Lakers at the Warriors. You knew they were both going to be in there. You knew those teams were both going to be in there. Steph versus LeBron. They had to do it, and I'll definitely be tuning into that one.
Yeah, no, I'll be watching that for sure.
And then the last game is the Denver Nuggets at the Phoenix Suns. Get KD, Book in there, and then Jokic and Murray. So those would be some fun games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
The Sacramento Kings actually got their opening day game. It is going to be against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who we both thought it was going to be the Phoenix Suns. The Kings had this little thing where you could vote who you think they're going to play on opening night, and me and Luke actually both coincidentally thought it would be the Phoenix Suns, but
I was surprised that it wasn't in the conference. I mean, obviously Western Conference, but
the division.
The division. Yeah.
So that'll be a great game. That is at Golden One, October 24th. That is when the season starts. It really can't come soon enough.
See if I could get tickets to that.
Yeah, it can't come soon enough though, man. We are really entering the dog days of the NBA offseason.
Yeah,
especially with these Olympics being over. So we're gonna have to start ranking and doing all this other off-season stuff while we can.
Winding down. Yeah. We got plenty of stuff to talk about for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's jump right into it though. Our main topic for today is going to be ranking the top 10 point guards in the NBA today going into next year. We're taking into account what they did last year and, if they were hurt last year, what they project to do this year coming up. So very excited to jump into that. We're going to start from the bottom though. My honorable mentions, some guys that didn't make my list, that it was really hard to keep them off the top 10, was LaMelo Ball, who was hurt a lot last year. Was he on your list?
No, he's honorable mention.
So honorable mention for both of us. Another guy who I really wanted to put on there was Jamal Murray.
Yep,
couldn't put him on there.
Yeah, I didn't put him on there either.
He's too inconsistent for me. A year ago, he definitely would have been in the top 10 after coming off the championship. But
I need to see him on a team where he could actually kind of be the captain of the whole thing. There's a lot of pieces on the Nuggets to where it's kind of hard to be that breakout star. Yeah, and besides Jokic, obviously,
and he struggled in Canada as well, where they really needed him. So that lowered him for me as well. Some bigger names like Drew Holiday, James Harden, both didn't make my list.
Okay.
Either of
All
those guys on yours?
James Harden didn't make it, but Drew's somewhere on my
Oh,
on my
wow.
list.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's exciting to see. So we'll start with your number 10. What is your number 10 ranked point guard in the NBA?
I mean, we just talked about Drew Holiday.
Oh, okay.
Drew Holiday is going to be my number 10.
All right, well, I'm curious to see who you have off because my number 10 is Tyrese Maxey from the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
I wanted to put him
Yeah.
higher after a great playoff run that he had, but just these point guards are stacked.
It's
So,
stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Maxey on your list?
Maxey is on my list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I like putting Drew Holiday there just
Yeah.
because like seeing the difference of the Bucks versus the Celtics after 1 year. The Bucks fell short of 10 games from what they had when they had Drew Holiday on the
Yeah.
team, also championship short. So like having Drew Holiday go to the Celtics and kind of bring in that whole effectiveness on the defensive side for point guard. He doesn't produce a lot. I mean, he produced almost 20 points a game, but also just like he was a great passer. And then
Yeah.
on the defensive side, he was able to get stuff done. Very consistent too.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, that's why I had him on my list right there, top 10 in the league.
Yeah, I wanted to put him on there, and like you said, the Bucks really struggled without Drew Holiday last year. They were one of the worst defenses, especially on the perimeter.
Exactly.
Without Drew Holiday,
having that effectiveness, like I mean, having Dame Lillard like on the team obviously will help a lot, but I mean, defensively, he's not going to be the same.
Exactly. So my number 10 was Tyrese Maxey. Yours was Drew Holiday. So my number 9 is a guy who's very controversial. It's Trae Young. I have Trae Young number 9.
Yeah, not on my list.
Not on your list.
Yeah.
You know, he's a guy that's going to get you 28 and 10 every year.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the way he plays. He's a free throw merchant for sure. He doesn't respect the game of basketball the classic game of basketball. And I don't know, he complains a lot too.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that, but I am going to have some pushback. I do think Trae Young is going to have a huge year this year without DeJounte Murray, taking half the ball handling roles. He's not good off the ball. Trae Young is not a good off the ball player. But when he has the ball, he's single-handedly one of the best offenses in the league. Like he lobs it up to those bigs every time he kicks it out to his shooters. He's one of the best long-range shooters in the NBA. So I don't love the hate on Trae Young. He's definitely one of my favorite players still. I know he does complain a lot.
I agree that he'll get those stats and those numbers up there, but I mean, I don't think it'll be the numbers to break out and get wins, like the right numbers. I mean, you could be if anybody, I feel like Trae Young might be a stat stuffer.
It's hard to disagree with you, but because the Hawks haven't been good in a few years, but when they were a few years ago, they were in the conference finals, and that was led by Trae Young, and he was arguably a top 3 point guard in the NBA at that time, and now he's only getting older, getting more mature. I think he's going to have a breakout year, and I think you're going to regret not having him on your top 10 because the narrative around him is what you're saying, about the foul baiting and the complaining and no defense. But he's one of the best guards in the league, and I think you just can't disrespect that. I think he's going to come out and show everyone this year why he's one of the best.
Honorable mention.
So who's your number 9?
Number 9 is Tyrese Maxey for me.
Okay, so it's very similar.
Very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Average about 25 last year for Philly, playing alongside Embiid.
He did a lot to the Kings. Like he screwed us up a lot. I feel like he affects the winning side of Philly. He comes up clutch on some big moments. Works really well with Embiid. Yeah. And then adding PG to the roster too, that's going to help even more. So that's going to be a very nice big 3 over there in Philly for sure. Yeah. And I think he's going to do really well.
I am going to disagree that I think Trae Young is definitely better than Tyrese Maxey, though. I think if you put Trae Young on the Philadelphia 76ers, they're even better team.
I don't agree.
Because Tyrese Maxey is better off the ball, catch and shoot type of guy, which works with Philly very well.
Trae is going to want the ball way too much.
Yeah.
Embiid
but that pick and roll.
Embiid would hate having Trae Young on the team.
I don't know about that. That pick and roll with Trae Young and Embiid would be pretty nasty.
It would be nasty, but I don't think Embiid likes the ball too much too.
Yeah, he is kind of more of an ISO guy.
Embiid is an ISO guy. He likes to back down and everything. I think Embiid would hate having Trae Young on the team.
Interesting. I'm a big Trae Young guy, so I'm going to keep fighting for him. But I do respect your opinion, and I think Maxey, like I
don't
said,
hate him. I don't. But I just don't think he.
You view him as a little overrated compared to these other guys.
Exactly.
I mean, I think if you put Tyrese Maxey on the Hawks, they're way worse than they are with Trae Young. I think if you're going to have a number one guy, Trae Young is the guy you're going to pick over Maxey. But maybe as a complimentary guy, like you said with Embiid, just because Maxey moves better off the ball, can catch and shoot.
Yeah. It's also a little bit bigger. I like the size.
True. Yeah, not as bad defensively.
Exactly.
Not the best.
Yeah.
Not as
I always
bad.
love a good defensive guard. A defensive guard is ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
moving on to number 8.
Number 8. We'll start with you. Who's your number 8?
I got Tyrese Halliburton at number 8. Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I could put him higher, but he's still a little too young, and also needs to kind of develop into that kind of lead guard position. Obviously, he's probably the best passer in the league. Led the league in assists.
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe not he has some flashy passes, but his vision is insane.
It is.
He still averaged I think around a turnover a game, maybe a little bit more. So a little bit of work to go on there, but averaging almost 11 assists and only 1 turnover. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I have him higher than number 8, actually. I have Damian Lillard as my number 8.
Okay. That's, yeah.
Yeah, those two guys this year really went at it too, Dame and Tyrese Halliburton. And Tyrese got the best of them in the in-season tournament. Those two teams played, and they were beefing, Dame and Tyrese. And Tyrese really lit it up. And
love that kind of beef between a young guard and an old guard.
Yeah. And Tyrese hit Dame's time celebration after hitting a game winner against them. But I still think Dame is looking a little slower than he was.
Yeah.
I can't put him higher than 8.
I have him right behind him at 7.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to skip your,
you're good.
your 8. But, Oh, wait, you just said your...
8 is Damian Lillard,
So, I got Dame at 7 right there.
Yeah. I do think right now Halliburton is better. I know it's hard to say that coming off that USA, where he didn't play
He didn't really
at
play
all.
that much.
He was the last guy on the bench. Tyrese was, even playing behind Derek White.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just really because of defense. And I think when Tyrese has his own team, he is like
He's
Trae
nice.
Young, one of the best offenses by himself in the league. Just distributing to everyone, pushing the pace. That's what he does the best.
He can score.
Yeah, he pushes the pace better than anyone in the league. He's not one to slowly dribble the ball up the court. He wants to get it moving, and he doesn't waste dribbles.
That's why
he swings it up.
He was a great fit here in Sacramento. That's why him and De'Aaron were too much alike, and it was just either one.
I'm happy with the decision.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah. But he is doing great things in Indy. Like we said, they made it to the conference finals last year.
He changed the culture over there when he went over.
Oh, for sure.
He brought the whole young kind of stature over there.
Yeah. But I'm surprised that you have Dame over him. After a struggling year for Dame.
I think it's just the vet status and everything, the IQ and the knowledge in the game.
Yeah. He's definitely a better scorer than Tyrese.
Yes. Yeah. And then I feel like he just affects the team around him a little bit more. Kind of just helps everybody get a little bit better. Yeah. Not saying Tyrese doesn't do that, but I think Dame kind of has that a little bit more morale kind of up there.
Like more of a leadership role as well.
Exactly.
He's been there. He's been through it all.
Yeah.
But Dame, he had some big games last year, but he was just really inconsistent. He was actually going through a lot of stuff off the court.
Yeah.
They really impacted him, it seemed like. He was really just not looking like himself a lot of games. So next year, I think he's going to come in with a different animal, this offseason, I think Dame is really going to push himself.
I think he'll wake up again. I think he'll be scoring around 27 again, probably with Giannis.
The Bucks are going to be scary.
Bucks are going to be really, back up there again in the East.
Yeah. And like we said, our 7 and 8 are Halliburton and Dame, and those two teams really have a rivalry brewing, Indy and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So that'll be really fun to see them face off this year. But yeah, I think Dame, he still has that long range shooting ability, like we know he has. Tyrese's shot, he does have the long range, but his shot's a little more funky, slow.
Yeah.
Dame
still needs a little bit more mechanics worked on it. But he still he shoots over 42%. Yeah.
Tyrese is really a 50-40-90 guy, which is crazy.
Kind of
like
insane.
Steve Nash type numbers from Tyrese. That's kind of his player comparison.
Shout
to
out
me.
Steve Nash.
Yeah, shout out
one
Steve
of my
Nash.
favorites.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have Halliburton over Dame. You have Dame over Halliburton.
Yep.
All right, well, let's move on to 6. It might start getting controversial here.
What you got at number 6?
Number 6, I have a guy that didn't play last year, only played a couple games, but I still think he's one of the best.
I think we're talking about the same person.
Ja Morant.
Ja Morant.
Yeah,
we both got Ja Morant at 6.
Okay, well, I like that. Memphis, we can take some time on them before we go to our break in about 2 minutes. Memphis is one of the scariest teams coming in this year.
With Ja coming back, it's going to be a little scary over there.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad we both have him at 6.
Me too.
I would put him higher if he played a little bit more, but only played like 9 games last year.
Yeah. And he looked great in those 9 games.
Looked great. But yeah, he's one of the most electric players in the NBA. Thought he was. I kind of thought he was going to be the next face, like kind of the new.
Yeah.
But I mean, with his controversies and stuff, obviously stuff happens. But
the NBA doesn't want him to really be the face anymore.
Yeah, but
he's still one of the best.
He's still going to be that great player. He's still going to be the same player coming back. Ja's right there at 6 for me. I probably would have him higher if he played more though.
Yeah, I'm really, when we do our standings predictions in a couple weeks, I think I'm going to have Memphis really high on there just because they have Marcus Smart coming back. They have Desmond Bane. They have Jaren Jackson. They have new center Zach Edey.
They're going to be right
see.
up there.
Yeah, but they're a really scary team, and I think Ja could be in the running for MVP if he really focuses up this year.
Okay.
And if he leads Memphis to like a top 3 seed, I think he can
they
be in the running.
Be up there in top 3.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they were a few years ago. They were a top seed. I remember watching them go against the Warriors in the playoffs a few years ago, and those were one of the most stressful games I remember watching. I actually went to one of them where Ja got hurt in the playoffs. He had a half court that game. He had a half court before he got hurt.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And he is the most athletic player in the league.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say
it's scary when he jumps up sometimes. Like, you're just like, oh, he's going to hurt himself.
I just hope he's not going to be like Derrick Rose.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's got to be careful sometimes.
I know. But, yeah, Milwaukee and, not Milwaukee, Memphis,
no,
sorry.
Yeah, Memphis is going to be, they're going to be up there in the top of the standings for sure.
Oh, yeah. But so we both have him at number 6. We'll jump back into our top 5 when we get back. And, I'm curious to see who you have at number 5.
I know, yeah.
It's hard to rank some of these guys.
I feel like we probably have the same 5 up top. It might be kind of different position with them. But, I feel like it'll be kind of similar.
And we are back here on Beam City Sports, 96.5 FM. Again, this is your host, Tyler Texeira, along with my fellow co-host, Luke Mitchell. And this is our 7th week doing the show. How are you feeling so far? 7 weeks in.
I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my nerves are always gone when I show up into the studio. I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's I feel like I did journalism back in high school.
Yeah.
I wrote for the school newspaper. So when you hit me up about this, it kind of just fell in my lap. I was just like, yes, please. Yes, I need to hop on the show.
I knew you were the guy that I needed to, reach out to because all my other friends were really kind of scared to do anything. And I knew you would be a little scared in the beginning, but once you get your feet under you, this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
This is what we both want to do.
I remember when at my old Little League, shout out Dooley Field.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Land Park Pacific fell short. They got eliminated.
Yeah.
But I remember we were doing announcing like a Dooley won. Yeah, so pretty much ever since that, I was just like, I love being on the mic.
Yeah. And just talking sports, talking what we love, you can't really get any better than that. Hopefully we can continue this. And only 7 weeks in, it feels like we've been doing it for a while now. But imagine what we're gonna be like 20 weeks in, 30 weeks in.
Who knows?
How good we'll feel, what we'll be doing, who we'll be interviewing. The King sea's coming up. Hopefully we can
we could get
work our way to
there.
get some interviews.
Yeah.
I know Deuce and Mo, the two the pre and post game people that are huge in Sacramento now.
Big podcast too.
Yeah. They said they're down to come on the show with us sometime.
That'd be awesome to talk to them, get their insights on the new season and everything.
Definitely. Hopefully we can get them before the season starts. That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Just to gear us up for the King season. Super hyped about the NBA season. Like I said, we are in the dog days of the NBA off season. Sad to say. With the Olympics just ending, now we got about 2 months.
This builds up the excitement.
It does.
This will make the season opener that much better.
Exactly. Something I'm also excited about that I know you're not really too excited about anymore is the new NBA 2K coming out in about a few weeks. I'm really just excited to see the Kings rankings on there and all like the rookies and just all the new stuff.
It'll be cool. It's really been the same game for a little while.
It is for sure.
They just add a little bit new features and add the new players. But Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, they get me on that every year, spending $100 for the same game, just updated rosters. But I have to do it, and I'm so excited for that to come out. But these next few weeks are going to be rough. Before it's out, I'm just missing basketball so much.
Yeah.
These Olympics really held me over for the time being, but now.
Got to get into baseball more.
No, yeah,
bit.
for
and
sure.
then we got a NFL preseason starting as well.
I know you're more into the NFL preseason than I am. I do have my fantasy football draft
We got
coming
fantasy coming up, so we got to talk about football a little bit more. Get you a little bit of knowledge, get a little bit more knowledge on you.
Yeah. So you're a Saints fan, right?
I'm a Saints fan.
Yeah.
Who that nation, baby? Who that nation?
I remember you loving Drew Brees back in the day.
Goat.
Yeah. But I say we jump back into our point guard
Let's
list.
get back in. What was your first 5 on your list?
Yeah, so we'll just review. At 6, we both had John Morant. At 7, I had Tyrese Halliburton.
I had Damian Lillard.
You had Damian Lillard. At number 8, I had Damian Lillard. You had Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes,
so very similar.
Yeah.
Number 9, controversy. I had Trae Young. Someone that you were not very high on.
Yeah, I had Tyrese Maxey at number 9.
Tyrese Maxey. Then I had Tyrese Maxey at 10, and you had Drew Holiday.
I had Drew Holiday at 10.
I really do respect you for putting Drew on your list. He's just a straight winner. It's not all about numbers all the time.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
Anytime he steps on the court, he has a job, and he gets the job done.
Yeah, and, he started so many of those games for Team USA, so that really shows how important he is. He's the best perimeter defender in the NBA. So
exactly.
I wanted to put him on there, but Trae Young is just too good of an offensive talent that I had to put him on there. But let's jump into the top 5.
Yes, sir.
My number 5 is a guy that we know and love, our Sacramento's own De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, yeah, I have him on my list, but at number 5, I had to put Jalen Brunson.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. This was a very tough one. I went back and forth on these two right here.
Yeah,
it might be a little bit of just hometown
bias.
Love, a little bias.
I know. And last year, I definitely would have had De'Aaron over Brunson.
Yeah.
But after what we just saw from Jalen Brunson, especially in the playoffs,
he did an amazing job. More than amazing job.
Yeah. And he's just. I saw it against the Kings when they played against the Kings this year too. Jalen Brunson. I don't know if you remember when he was. It was a close game in the fourth quarter.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, he had Keon Ellis on him, and just the intelligence of Jalen Brunson and the talent.
Fake out on Keon.
He pointed to his right like there was a screen coming. Keon looks over, and before Keon can even look back, Brunson's already gone. There was no screen coming.
Keon's expression on his face was
shocked.
That sucked.
Yeah. But I love Jalen Brunson's
game.
Yeah,
no, Jalen's one of the most seeing his progression, just looking at his stats grow from being at Dallas and then every single year. They're going up every single year. There's going to be even higher, I feel like, this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I could see him also being, you said John Morant for MVP, like Jalen Brunson.
I would like that.
I feel like he can be a top 5 player in the MVP conversation with the numbers that he produces, and then the Knicks being like one of the contenders, I feel like, over in the East.
I am loving this Knicks team coming into this year, you know, with Mikal.
The power of friendship.
Yeah, it is really the power of friendship.
I feel like that's the nickname for this team.
And Jalen Brunson's really leading the way. But yeah, I had to put him over De'Aaron, man. De'Aaron's my second favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
And I still had to put him over De'Aaron. I love, he's a smaller guard, but he's just stocky. He's tough.
Exactly.
He does it all.
He's put on a lot of muscle in the last couple of years.
Oh,
so he's one of the more like heavier set guards almost.
And he's always under control. He's never rushing it.
Yeah.
He controls the pace of the offense. And I just think he's flat out just better than De'Aaron right now.
Even if he does rush it, he's one of the fastest guards in the league.
Yeah.
So he has the control to get up and down the court and the snap of a finger.
Yeah. He's definitely not as fast as De'Aaron. De'Aaron's the fastest.
Sorry, I thought you
in
were
the
talking
league.
about De'Aaron.
Sorry.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but Brunson's still fast.
Brunson's quick.
Yeah.
Brunson's quick.
But I just think he's so much more in control. And De'Aaron sometimes, he tries to take the game into his own hands a little too much for, to want to win. I think Brunson's just a straight winner.
Yeah.
And he really showed it last year. But I do have De'Aaron number 5, so you have Brunson number 5.
I have De'Aaron at number 4, right behind him.
Yeah, I have Brunson number 4. It was really, really hard for me to not put De'Aaron. I wanted to put him number 3, honestly. I really wanted to.
I don't think I could have put him at top. There's too much skill over, and pretty much all over the West with all these point guard.
For sure,
positions.
It is all in the West.
But yeah, De'Aaron at number 4. Obviously, a little bit biased with picking over Brunson. But the way De'Aaron kind of just, helped out Sacramento get back to. Having Sabonis helped out a lot, but I think De'Aaron was the real captain on getting Sacramento back out of the dump, pretty much.
Yeah, I personally think De'Aaron saved Sacramento.
Yeah, just definitely.
With him staying here and, buying into wanting to make Sacramento good again, I love him so much for that. And I do think De'Aaron can have a better year than Jalen Brunson. I really hope he does.
Yes, sir.
Because I would love to put him over him on this list. But, man, Jalen Brunson is just really that guy.
I think De'Aaron's coming in and Sabonis are coming in with a chip on their shoulder.
They really better.
Without making All-Star last year.
Yeah.
De'Aaron wants to play for that max contract. He wants to get to All-NBA. So I think De'Aaron's going to come in and play like nobody else on the court, really.
I hope we see it. And, he has the capability of scoring 40 every night. We really saw it, especially in the beginning of last year with De'Aaron. He just would wait until the fourth quarter a lot of times. And then I remember the game against the Warriors early in the year. They were down like 25. And then in the fourth quarter, De'Aaron just started scoring every single time. Like, nobody can stop De'Aaron when he's locked in.
Nobody.
Getting to his spots.
Nobody.
Especially if he's hitting from three. Yep. Which he was doing very well early in the season.
Everybody backs off trying to get the step on the down low, but he's getting that 3-point percentage back up. So it's awesome to see. Yeah,
early in the year last year, I noticed De'Aaron was hitting a ton of his threes, more than I've ever seen, averaging 30 a game for the first 2 months of the year. Then he kind of had a weird injury, came back, and he was taking a lot of threes, but not really hitting them the same.
Hitting them.
Yeah, and he started kind of falling in love with the three. Yeah. And that's maybe why I have Brunson over him. Is Brunson, he can shoot the three very well, probably better than De'Aaron, but he doesn't fall in love with it. He still gets to his mid-range, and he gets to his floaters, he's the best in the league at. Brunson is those floaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, De'Aaron also gets that little, going down or like popping out from that elbow and like gets it up really quick.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, for sure. But I just, just like I said, I think Brunson's more under control than De'Aaron is right now. I do think we can see De'Aaron take that next step and, be the real captain of this team. Like, Jalen Brunson just got named the captain of the New York Knicks. Like, he's going to have the C on his jersey. Yeah. Very well deserved, of course.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But we need De'Aaron to be that guy here in Sac. We can't have him being, have Sabonis be arguably the best player on the team or DeRozan probably being the vocal leader, Malik being the dog. And
we need De'Aaron to be the captain.
We need De'Aaron to be the captain. We need him to set the tone and not wait till the fourth quarter anymore. We have DeMar for that now. DeMar's one of the best fourth quarter scorers.
That we have both of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league.
Hopefully that can open De'Aaron up to, wanting to come out the gate. I really think opening night De'Aaron is going to have to put on a show against Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
That will probably be a nationally televised game as well.
Probably.
With, Minnesota being
it's going to be a
one of
tough
the best
one
teams.
against Anthony. So,
yeah. And I also want to see De'Aaron take that matchup personally on the defensive end. I want him. De'Aaron has all the tools to guard those best guys on the defensive end, but he just doesn't do it every time.
I feel like he gets a little scared and backs off a little bit.
Yeah. But when he's going at it, like we saw this in the Warriors series 2 years ago when they lost in Game 7, when I just saw a leaked footage of De'Aaron and Draymond going back and forth with each other. And they're actually really close. They're like good friends, but it didn't sound like close friends in that audio. And that's the De'Aaron I need to see all year. He was cussing Draymond out, calling him a little, whatever. And he was guarding Steph. Yeah. You saw that?
No, I remember that.
Yeah. But we need De'Aaron to have that dog. And I think Brunson is one of those guys that doesn't back down from anyone. And we need De'Aaron to really step up. And I think he's going to show it opening night against Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't think De'Aaron really cares about it. Anybody stepping on his toes. He'll say something back for and the snap of a finger.
He's not scared.
Yeah, he's not scared.
Yeah, we can't have him back down or, praise he doesn't get an injury or something. That would be horrible because I think if he stays healthy all year,
we have a young team.
Yeah,
they're all really young, under 30, pretty much. Or pretty much everybody's under 30 besides DeMar. Really,
and DeMar's getting up there, but he's still just an elite scorer.
Yeah. He gets to his spots super easy.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, that was a good, back and forth on the 4 and 5. Now we can jump to number 3, who I think we probably both have the same guy.
I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right here.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as my number 3, and
I have Stephen Curry at number 3 right here.
You're kidding. You do not have Steph Curry number 3.
I do have Stephen Curry.
You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander above Stephen Curry?
Going into this year, I think Shai is going to be and then probably a top 2 MVP candidate.
He was last year.
I think he's going to carry it. I don't think Steph is still obviously a top 5 player in the league. I think.
Yeah.
Top 7. I won't put him below top 7, but or above tops. But Shea, he turned it up last year.
He did.
As a young player like this on a young team with like the Thunder, who now have experience. Only 1 year, but I mean or a couple of years. But I think Shea will be in there, and I think he will have a really good shot at being the MVP.
Yeah.
All respect to Stephen Curry, especially on this Olympic run right now. It does put him up there in a fighting chance. But that's Olympic basketball, obviously, so a little bit different.
True.
But in the NBA, I think Shea's going to turn it up. I think Shea's going to be right there.
He definitely already has. And I'm definitely one of the biggest Shea haters just because I think personally De'Aaron should be better than Shea. I think we should. I wanted to put De'Aaron above a Shea, but he just he hasn't done anything to prove it.
Yeah, Shea immediately right when he got traded to the Thunder from the Clippers, he changed the whole culture of OKC, like back to the young days of Russell, KD, and James Harden. So having that with Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, and then all everybody else there is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, when Shea first got to OKC, he had Chris Paul as his mentor. They made the playoffs as an 8 seed, and no one expected them to make it. That was back in the bubble. But you can really tell how much Shea's learned from Chris Paul.
Yeah,
getting to that mid range, playing under control. But I hate that you have him over Steph.
I'm sorry. All respect to Stephen Curry. He is one of the best. It probably is the best point guard of all time.
Yeah, but we're ranking right now.
Going into this next season, I think Shea has that step up above Steph.
Yeah. I think Shea, if you mentioned about Trae Young, the free throw merchant and all that. I think Shea is he gets the most calls in the league. And I don't know why. I don't know why the refs love Shea. And the NBA just loves OKC so much, and it really irritates me because they're a smaller market than Sacramento. And the NBA just never wants to see Sacramento
I agree with that. Yeah, and Sacramento gets a lot of hate with the NBA.
Yeah, and Shea gets all these calls. Like every call he drives to the hoop, he's getting a call. De'Aaron will do the same thing and not get a call.
Shea does get a lot of the free throws. I'm not going to bash on it because they're not the same way that Trae gets it.
Trae is more looking for it.
Is looking for it a lot.
Yeah.
Shea goes that forced shot, getting contact and everything. But, I will say the NBA has gone soft a lot. So you can say, you see what you want to see on the NBA.
True.
Like, as a fan, you see what you want to see.
Yeah.
So there's all this contact and everything. And then when it happens against your team, it's just like, oh, it's a foul. And then when it's the other way.
True.
It's the same context. Like, stop being a baby.
Yeah. He got fouled. Yeah. But
but I will agree. Shea does get a lot of shots, but he's not looking for it. I don't think.
I can see that, but in the one-on-one matchups that we see the Kings go against the Thunder, I think De'Aaron has his number. Almost every time they play, De'Aaron outplays him, and the Kings usually win.
It's pretty insane, seeing the matchups going down because, DeMontis kind of got worked against Chet.
Yeah.
Chet kind of locked him down.
Yeah.
But then, De'Aaron scored, I think, 34 on him one game. They had a battle for sure.
They played in the in-season tournament,
it was
and the Kings won.
Back and forth, and the Kings won. But, De'Aaron also always gets that win right there, for sure.
Yeah, and, I think Shea is overrated. I'm going to say it. I think he's a little overrated. Okay. I think if you want to, you put him over Steph, I do get it because, they were winning, and they were about the number 1 seed last year or whatever.
Yeah.
And Shea was second in MVP. But I think Steph just doesn't have the weapons on his team anymore like the Oklahoma City Thunder have. But I don't think it's going to matter this year. I think the Warriors are going to definitely make the playoffs this year. And I think Steph is really going to make on. I know he doesn't have a lot to prove left.
I think they'll probably be an 8 seed.
Yeah.
I think Warriors will be an 8 seed.
But just with Steph making it to the 8 seed in this stacked West is really going to say something.
Yeah. That's the type of player Steph is.
Yeah. I don't think Shea could do that. I don't think Shea could do that. I think Shea has more weapons on his team.
We're talking about best point guards, and we're not talking about the team going.
True.
We're talking about best point guards.
But I don't think Steph he's not a free throw merchant. He's a real scorer.
Yeah.
He's averaging 30 on the most threes in the league, and Shea is not a 3-point shooter. I think I don't trust Shea's 3-point shot still.
But there's more than to that.
There is. There is
more.
I think De'Aaron is a better 3-point shooter than Shea.
Yeah, probably he gets his open shots more for sure.
Yeah.
It's tough though. I can't. I don't know. Shea just is that type of player. I got to put him at number 2. He's right there.
Man, I just really am one of the biggest Shea haters, but I can't really get that mad at you because of the year that he just had.
Yeah.
I think after this year, we're going to see Shea is a little overrated. I don't think the Thunder are going to be as good as everyone thinks.
Okay.
I know we
We'll
did
see.
both have them number one as
see.
the ranking
Yeah.
the young teams future, but I
That's
think
only
they're going to take a
couple
step
years.
back.
I don't think they'll be a number 1 seed
Yeah.
again this year.
They're definitely
but
up there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be up there.
Yeah. Well,
Moving on to number 1.
number 2 for me is
Oh, number
Luka
2.
Doncic.
Oh,
Yeah. I have Luka number 2.
okay.
I think Steph is still the best point guard in the NBA,
Okay.
and I think he's really going to prove it this year. I think he's going to have one of those years like we saw in 2021 from him, where he leads the league in scoring, and he's just carrying his team to wins when they don't have much to support him. And I think that's really going to put him over the top for me. I do understand why you would have Luka number 1, though.
Luka number 1 is definitely. I mean, he's the best player in the league. I think going into the next couple of years. I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just like you said, he pushes his team to get to the win. I mean, obviously they fell short last year. Didn't really get too hot in the playoffs, but I think Luke is going to be the face of the NBA for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I still think Steph deserves the nod over him at number 1. I still think Steph is the most talented and most skilled point guard in the league. I know Luka has the ball way more, and he's just a higher usage player than Steph, with the ball, getting all these assists and all that. And, we did just see Dallas make the finals. They didn't look good in the finals at all.
Yeah.
But, running through the Western Conference like they did, it really shows a lot. And I am scared for Luka. I do think it is maybe his time to win MVP coming next year.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to say they didn't get hot, but
No.
like they just I don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't seem like they were really
Gonna win
it the whole time.
Yeah. Like it was a magical run for them for sure.
Yeah.
But playing against the Celtics, you really saw who deserved to win the finals.
Exactly.
It wasn't close.
It was always them.
Yeah.
It was always them.
Yeah. I do think this year though we're gonna see a lot more balance around the NBA. Like the Celtics coming in were really the favorites to win it. Them or the Bucks, picking up Dame, and then the Bucks get hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Also the Nuggets falling off.
Nuggets are kind of be
a little bit,
be on the teeter-totter a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll probably have to get hot like mid-season. I don't think they're going to start out hot, but I mean, as one of the teams that has that experience to be like one of the prolonging teams to get all those wins, they're going to have to pick it up like kind of late in the season, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Do you think who do you think has a better chance of winning a championship in the next, let's say, 5 years? Is it Luka or is it Shea?
Probably.
Because both of those guys, I arguably want to say.
How many years you say?
In the next 5.
5 years. Probably Shea.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I was arguably going to say that.
Because I'm not saying just because of Shea.
The team, though.
It's because Dallas isn't in the position that the Thunder are in right now.
That is true.
In the next 5 years, the Thunder will have drafted even more of those picks that they have in the first round.
Yeah.
And then maybe even making more moves and trading those picks and picking up even another star. So
they are scary. They are definitely scary.
I think they're going to be even scarier in 5 years.
Yeah. I was going to say an arguable take. I don't think the way that Luka or Shea plays is going to lead to a championship for either one of them in the next 5 years. I don't think that the way that Luka plays, I know he made it to the finals, but even with Kyrie on his team, he really wasn't, getting Kyrie involved as much as he should. Like, we saw LeBron do back in 2016 with Kyrie.
Kyrie isn't the same player, though.
He's not.
He's not the same player.
True. That is true.
I mean, those years take a toll on you, especially going through Brooklyn and everything.
Mm-hmm. That was a weird time.
He's a different player.
Yeah, he definitely has lost a step. He's still one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't think Luka or Shea, the way that they play.
Yeah, we actually don't even have Kyrie Irving on the top.
No, he's a shooting guard. He's classified as a shooting guard.
He's classified as shooting guard?
Because Luka's the point guard. So we'll have him on next week.
A true position. He was a point guard.
I know.
Yeah.
My dad said the same thing, actually. He was like, where's Kyrie?
Yeah.
But he's going to be on the shooting guard list because we have to classify them.
I'm going to give him an honorable mention on this list, too.
Well, he would make it in mine if, I don't know, actually.
Dude,
that'd be hard.
That's hard. I feel like he might be, I feel like he should be on this list.
I know. But like I said, Luka, I don't think the way that he plays is going to generate a championship anytime soon unless he, maybe takes a step back with handling the ball so much. We did see in the finals how hurt he was he was hobbling on one leg, still getting
Yeah.
30-point triple-doubles, really.
Yeah.
But he's just not the same player that he was in the regular season, and I do think that's because of the usage that he has. So I do think they need, like you said, they need someone else to step in and take the pressure off him.
Exactly.
You know, Kyrie's supposed to be that guy, but he's lost a step. We'll see.
Yeah. You're number one, Stephen Curry.
Stephen Curry is definitely my number one. That's going to stay the same for, a few more years.
Yeah.
A few more years.
Could we call that a bias at all?
Definitely. Definitely biased. He is my favorite player of all time, so had to put him number one. But I do think there's an argument for him, man. I think he's still
definitely an argument
the best shooter of all time by far.
Yes.
It's not even close. Yeah. And I just think that if he had another piece around him, like we saw the last time they had Prime Clay, they won the championship.
That's true.
And I just think that they're missing that second guy. I wish they got Lauri Markkanen. That would have been big. But, it's not going to happen.
I don't think it really would have been that much of a big difference maker for them picking up Lauri.
Depending who they would have had to give up.
Yeah.
It would have been,
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have our top 10 list. Go over your list real quick, just so we know.
From top to bottom?
Top to bottom.
I got Luka, number 1, Shea, number 2, Steph, number 3, De'Aaron, number 4, Jalen Brunson, number 5. I got Ja Morant, number 6, Damian Lillard, number 7, Tyrese Halliburton, number 8, Tyrese Maxey, number 9, and Drew Holiday at number 10.
All right. And my number 1, Stephen Curry, the best shooter of all time. And then number 2, Luka Doncic. Number 3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, free throw merchant. Number 4, Jalen Brunson. And number 5, one of the best players in the league, De'Aaron Fox. Number 6, Ja Morant. 7, Tyrese Halliburton. 8, Damian Lillard. 9, Trae Young. 10, Tyrese Maxey. And some guys that we didn't have on the list that, definitely could be on the list are LaMelo Ball, Jamal Murray, Cade Cunningham coming up as well. One of the best point guards in the next few years, I think.
Kyrie Irving.
You had Drew Holiday on there. We didn't have James Harden, Darius Garland, DeJounte Murray.
James Harden fell off.
Yeah.
James Harden fell off.
He just doesn't really care as much anymore, it seems. He just wants to be in L.A. and vibe.
Shout out Mike Conley.
Yeah. Mike Conley's definitely still one of the best vets in the league. But, we got 2 minutes left before we close out our 7th show on Beam City Sports. This is KUBU Radio, and we're going to close it out with some Oakland A's, who he play for, a segment that they have on NBA TNT, who he play for, where they question Charles Barkley about, where do these guys play now? Because he usually doesn't know.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, who do these old A's legends play for now? We're going to start with one of my favorites, Ramon Laureano.
I'm pretty sure he went to the Braves pretty recently.
Yes, he is now on the Atlanta Braves.
I don't know when that happened though.
Yeah, he got traded this year actually to the Braves. Gotcha. So and he just hit a home run last night against the Giants. Saw that. So yeah. And so Ramon on the Atlanta Braves, one of the best teams. Mark Hanna.
The Giants. I just saw he got traded there.
Yes. One that I know you probably don't know because it's very random. Josh Donaldson.
Let me get a hint real quick.
He's on a blue and yellow team in the NL.
Blue and yellow in the NL. What?
The
Milwaukee Brewers?
Yes, the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers. Yeah. He's not really getting time over there.
Yeah, he's a little old.
Yeah. Another guy, Jesse Chavez, one of my favorite relievers.
He's also in Atlanta. He just signed a deal, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. We're going to close it out with Sonny Gray. He was also one of my favorite players on that A's team. Almost won Cy Young, playoff legend. NL team, red team. It's a bird.
Cardinals.
Yes.
Whoa.
He's on the St. Louis Cardinals.
Ooh.
Yeah, you don't like the Cardinals?
I hate the Cardinals.
What? I've always kind of liked them for some reason.
I hate the Cardinals.
When they won the World Series in 2013
against the Rangers,
yeah,
I was pissed.
That was one of my favorite World Series ever.
I wanted Josh Hamilton to win that one.
I hated Josh Hamilton.
I love Josh Hamilton.
How can you be an A's fan and like him? No, he was a legend.
Josh Hamilton was a legend.
He was.
And Prince Fielder was on the team at the time too.
But the Cardinals had David Freese, who you
I
remember that?
hated him too,
dude.
Because he hit
so
the home run.
clutch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have. We're about to close out on Beam City Sports 96.5. Again, this is your host, Tyler Texeira. Luke Mitchell signing off.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sacramento.
Right. Light the beam. Let's get it.
Light the beam.